All right, everyone. I'm Gio. This is another podcast for the Gio Jackson Show, and today I have a very, very special guest, my good friend Ashley.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing today?
I am fabulous. I am multitasking. I'm currently cooking some albondiga soup for us to enjoy
I can't wait.
after, but very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. To get to know you a little bit more. Obviously, we've been. How long have we been friends?
Honestly, we try to figure it out, but I think we've been friends since like 2017, 2016.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Um, so we've been friends for a while. And then I'll always want to say thank you. This weekend you came to my house for my birthday. I appreciate it.
Yes.
It was nice to hang out with everyone as well that was there. It was amazing time. The big 3-1.
Yes, the big 3 won. And also, shout out back to you because we celebrated a week prior
That's true.
my big 3-0, which was so much fun. It was a big family party and puro Michoacan allí, no? Representing.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Usually I'm not much of a dancer, but I was dancing a little bit.
If you're my friend, you know you're going to have to dance.
Yeah. I have two left feet, but sometimes when the music gets in it, I feel like it's in the blood.
Happy
Right.
feet.
Right.
Happy feet.
So it was fun, but let's start there. How does it feel to be in the 30s? I know there's a big stigma. People, oh my God, 30, life's figured out, marriage, kids, whatever. But for some of us, we're still trying to figure life out. So how are you feeling being 30?
You know what? I feel so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you saw a little bit of that on my birthday party, how I expressed gratitude for my family, for my friends. The past year and a half has been a very learning experience. And I knew, and I wrote about it like a week prior before turning 30, that I'm leaving so much behind in this decade. I've learned the most in this decade. And now I am just so excited to welcome in the person that I want to be and attract the right kind of people and to raise my frequencies and to build meaningful relationships with others and with myself. And I feel like the 30s are the new 20s.
That's what I say. Because I feel like we're in the spot where we have careers and stuff, and you can do things that when you were younger you wanted to do, or buy things that you always wanted to buy. So for me, buying equipment like this, I'm a big, obviously you guys know, but Legos, video games for my computer. And I can, buy stuff that, I want to enjoy that. When I was a teenager, I was like, I can only wish to get them. And I feel like when you're in your 30s, you can do all those things.
Yes, most certainly. And that's kind of how I feel about my little place. It's my sanctuary. It's my happy place. It's the place where I seek refuge. It's the place where I laugh, where I cry. It's the place where I just chill and do nothing. And the place where I go to sleep. Like, I love this place.
And I have to say, obviously, thank you for inviting the Gio Jackson Show to your home.
Yes.
We're, respecting it. I asked once I come in, shoes on, shoes off, want to be respectful, but it's a very nice place. And I like, your little balcony scenery.
Yes.
We'll get into that later, but introduce yourself, Ashley. Obviously, there's people here that actually, they might know you, they might not know you, but born and raised in Redwood City, or?
Yes. So born and raised in Redwood City, where my father currently lives. He's lived there literally my whole life in the mobile home park. So I grew up off of Bayshore.
Right.
Grew up going to Henry Ford, Kennedy, and then I went to a private high school called Menlo in Atherton. And then I went to college. I got a full ride scholarship to the University of Utah.
Oh.
Where, and I have a double major in political science and ethnic studies. And I guess that's kind of transitioning into the kind of work that I do now professionally. I've worked in corporate for almost 8 years now, which is wild. I work in people operations in HR, and I specialize in immigration.
Okay.
So that's very long winded, but it
Hmm.
basically just means that I help people with that have visas that want to work for the company. And I work very closely with um, lawyers, and I counsel the employees and I counsel the business on the best form of action. And then I do everything from employee life cycle, from onboarding to pre-onboarding to terminations to answering all, employee inquiries. And then in addition to that, I'm also very into employee resource groups. Typically in corporate, they will have, it's kind of like clubs, like
Hmm.
ERG clubs. And there is a lot of low representation of Latino and brown folk. And so I made it an initiative for me to be always a leader in that space and to create safe spaces for other Latinos working in tech and Latinas working in tech. And that can be from mentorship, that can be from getting, outside speakers to come and speak, internally to the employees. And that's something that I am also passionate about. Recently, I was on a podcast a few months ago, and it's about to launch next week. And just, yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah. So I will be posting that on LinkedIn and Instagram and everywhere. But it's essentially um, women in their mid careers
Hmm.
navigating through life, navigating through things such as layoffs. And we can touch on that in a
Hmm.
bit. And so, yeah, that's the introduction to me. And also, I'm a little bit of a spiritual shoddy bay.
Hmm.
We will touch on that as well.
Yeah, we can jump in. Obviously, you have
Yeah,
a second Instagram page, which is Flow with Ashley.
it is Flow with Ashley.
Okay. So what got you into that? Like, what got you into? I guess you would say this spiritual awakening. If that's what you would call it, right?
Yeah, so I'll start off with the page.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that I was just posting a lot of quotes, a lot of videos, and I was just very active. And I wanted to have a separate space for me to express myself. And also, there was a burst of creativity that I actually like to create.
Mm-hmm.
I like to create content. I like to speak. I like to talk. And I love to meet new people.
Okay.
And so I would say a year and a half ago, I met an amazing friend that I hold very dear. Her name is Jenny. And I met her during a breathwork ceremony. Essentially, what it is you are releasing um, any trauma that's inside of you via your breath. And I was actually talking to Tony about it last or a few days ago. Shout out, Tony.
Shout out the rat.
Yeah. And essentially what it is you are releasing and you're breathing very heavily. And it's not like kumbaya. It's very intense. It's like, and you're doing it for like an hour. And there's music playing, and one thing leads to another. And you can cry, you can laugh, you can do whatever you want. For me, I cried. I was in excruciating pain. And I was not balanced. I had a lot inside of me that I have stored inside of me. And so the past year and a half has been me releasing continually what is inside of me.
And what led you to, seek this, or like how did you watch YouTube? I know you mentioned a friend, but like
Yes.
what made you, go into this path, to go do what it sounds pretty, tough to do, right?
Yes. It's not for the faint of heart. What was the catalyst was actually my divorce. I was married prior, and, I had a full just my life was no more how I thought it was going to be. It was not my reality anymore. So it was a crushing of dreams in a way. How I had anticipated my life to be, I had to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously when people, get married or when you're in a long-term relationship, you do not want it to end, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You think it's forever. And I also come from a divorced background. You know, my folks were divorced, and, you know, that's not something that I wanted. I wanted, you know, I mean, I don't have any children, but if I did have children, I wanted a 2-parent home. And I wanted it all, right? You know, I feel like in life, I worked really hard with school, got my degrees, you know, had my job and pivoted and got an even better job and, you know, got engaged, you know, got
The
married.
storybook ending, right?
The storybook
The
ending.
Prince Charming, you live
Well, I
happily
don't know.
ever
I don't know
after.
about. I don't know about that. First of all.
But, we put this, in our mind that you get the job, right?
Yes.
You meet the one, you guys
Yes.
get married, and the marriage is going to be this one person forever.
Mm-hmm.
My only marriage.
Yep.
Things are going great.
Yeah.
And then, life, and I feel like we all go through it.
Yeah.
I go through it. Life, throws things at you that you do not expect. And now you're like, damn, what now? I was not prepared for this. I'm supposed to be happily ever after, and I'm not.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah. So I think just to piggyback off of that, you expect your life to be a certain way. And that's how I felt. I felt I had all my T's crossed, my I's were dotted, living a debt-free lifestyle, owning, our cars, helping out our family. From the outside, it was perfect, right? But there was a lot, right? There was COVID. There was, from being in the office to not being in the office, being at home. I think I felt, with COVID, you couldn't really hide what was there, like the issues, the underlying issues. And it's just like, fuck, like I don't have distractions anymore. Like I'm not just, going into work. Like my routines completely changed. I'm scared. Am I going to die? And, having family members that are prone to getting sick, right? And it was just, it was a lot with COVID, and then, obviously having issues, right? Or not really being aware of them. I fell into a really deep depression. I would say in the year 2022. Yeah, I would say 2022. And, I found myself being in a dark space, literally in my room with lights off, not looking at my phone. I couldn't get out of bed. I, was gaining so much weight. I was very unhappy. I didn't like the person. I didn't like the woman that I was seeing. And I wasn't kind to her. I wasn't kind to me. I would say, not the best things to myself. And in reality, no me amaba. I didn't love myself how I should have. And it was really hard. And, like I said, I was in a marriage and, it didn't work out. And, but I remember, the catalyst for my awakening was my life completely changing upside down within 24 hours and me completely being blindsided.
Wow. So it just like it wasn't brewing, like one day watching, I don't know, TV, a show, and then the next day, the person is like, I don't want to do this anymore with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to live life with you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it was. I mean, granted, everybody has their issues, and I definitely don't want to, stay there on that topic too much because I'm just so far removed from it. But I remember saying, I don't understand because I would never do things that way.
Okay.
And the last act of love that I could do, that I could show that person, was I am going to support you through this.
That's big. That's big of you. I know most people, they'll be like, F you, I don't want nothing to do with you. But why do that? Well, where does this come from that you're like, man, you broke my heart and I still want to take care of, what you're going through?
I could have easily gotten back to that dark place. But I was in that dark place that whole year. And I told myself, no, because the love that I have for myself is so much stronger than making somebody else's life hell for choosing to not want to be in the situation anymore. And I realized that the only way, like, you have to respect somebody's no just as much as their yes. You have to. I would say that the greatest form of love is consideration, and it's respecting somebody's wishes. So in that moment, that's exactly what I did. And I made it so easy for that person. And him and I have had conversations afterwards. Granted, we are divorced. Shout out. So
Well, congratulations.
I am
I don't know
so
if that's
happy.
something to
No,
congratulate.
it is finally,
Mm-hmm.
finally divorced after, a year and a half of back and forth. And, one thing that they did share with me is, you showed me grace when I didn't deserve it. And you made it so easy for me to leave because I expected you to act crazy. And you didn't. And I think that even made it harder for me. But the grace and the love that I showed was the grace and the love that I had for myself to not get to that place in that time. And so I think I accepted everything. I had no delusions. And I think that's what made it so easy for me to get over that relationship, was that I had no delusions. I accepted everything as it was. And I was curating the life that I wanted for myself. During that time, I also began to do therapy. And I still have the same therapist. Year and a half later, she's an amazing person and really got me on a routine. And I say the routine is what helped me. Mm-hmm. Having a nighttime routine, going to bed at a certain time, washing my face, brushing my teeth, getting into my cute pajamas, lighting a candle, writing in my journal. I practice gratitude literally for almost every day without fail for months. Gratitude journal at night and in the morning. Because there was times where I was like, I'm not grateful for anything. Why the fuck am I going through this? But through that process, I would say, I'm grateful for my routine. I'm grateful for getting up. I'm grateful for the sun shining on my face. I'm grateful that I ate today.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't. A lot of people don't appreciate those little things, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, for example, I don't know. I'll give examples of me. I'll complain like, I don't have this. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't like this. How this looks. Blah 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 blah. But if you were able to say like, today I made my bed. Today I ate. Today I was able to breathe, to go to work, to do those things, then your hand starts being bigger. Like there's 10 things you're grateful for.
Absolutely.
And it trumps that one thing that, that was causing you stress or causing but it's a tough mentality to have, especially when, like you said, you were in a spot where you couldn't leave your bed. You didn't see joy or happiness or have energy to do anything. So it's very hard to get to that state of mind. But like you said, when you started doing those routines, when you started getting into this groove, like I got to do this, this, and that, then you start appreciating those things. Then you start being grateful. But it's hard work, and it's hard.
It is.
It's
And
hard.
I also want to say that, with therapy, I learned, again, we're talking about a year and a half ago, I
Right.
learned how to feel my feelings, but in a constructive way. So I stopped drinking. I abstained from anything that could cause an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I, started hanging out a lot with friends and family. But most importantly, I started to do something called inner child work. And essentially it's reparenting. And it can be something, an example could be looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I love you. I love you, Ashley. And I started to talk to my little Ashley, like my 9-year-old Ashley, my 5-year-old Ashley. And I don't know, and I can show you afterwards, but in my room, I have a pledge to myself and I have a little picture of myself of when I was a child.
Why 5 or 9? Is that just you're saying that randomly, or is there a
No,
reason?
there is a reason. And so, um, 9 years old was essentially when I lost, I would say, my innocence as a child. You know, my parents separated um, when I was young, and that was hard on me. And, you know, I was told, you are the woman of the house now
At 9 years old.
at 9 years old. And I remember, you know, when my mother left, I didn't cry. I sucked it up. And I said, okay, I'm the woman of the house now. And, you know, I had to see, you know, my family suffer, you know, seeing your parent cry, consoling your parent as a young child, holding it all in. And on top of that, too, like I also experienced sexual abuse as well as a child. And, you know, things like that do change you. But for me, I've learned so much about myself. And, you know, obviously, I'm not a victim. And I can talk about it without falling apart now.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that happened with you. Is It's tough because, like I said, you're 9, 10 years old. At that age you should be worrying about, your little house, Barbie, you know, the toys, whatever, right? But a lot is put on your shoulders. Plus a traumatic experience like that. Um, I can only imagine how tough that may be. Um, did you feel that as you grew older, high school, college, adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
did you carry that trauma still, or how were you able to overcome it?
I 1000% carried it with me, and I was not aware. I'm 30 years old now. 20 years later, still dealing with it.
I'm sure, yeah.
However, now I would say in the past 10 years, it's something that I've had therapy. I think I was like 18, 19 years old when I really, the first time ever, I uttered, I was abused. And it was to a life coach that my father had recommended that I go to, and it was wonderful. But during that time, I realized how much ego I had as an 18, 19-year-old. I was very angry, very angry, and rightfully so. You know, all of that anger and trauma was still inside of me. And I thought, oh, yeah, like I read a book, like I went to this thing, I'm fine, I'm healed. Get in a relationship. You know, I had one relationship in college. Graduate, come back. I get in my second relationship, and, you know, I end up getting married. Thinking, oh, yeah, I've read all these books. I'm fine. I'm fine. No, it manifests. It manifests in your body. It manifested in my body. It manifested in ways where I didn't like who I was. Being controlling, being angry. I had so much anger in me. And I didn't realize it's pent up anger for years. And granted, I had felt, and I had released my anger and I had done things, right? But it wasn't until the camel broke its back when I got separated, where I felt everything.
All the pent up emotions, whatever.
Everything. Abandonment wound, right? With my parents.
Right.
With that abuse that I endured, right? And being like, I'm not good enough. I did everything right. I'm not good enough. And facing myself. And even now I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about it, because I love myself so much. And where I was, I just want to go back and hug her. And that's what I did. I went back at the time I was 28, 29.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 28 at the time. And I just started to hug my little Ashley. You are okay. We're safe. I got it from now on. I got it for the both of us, and you are safe. And so I started to reparent myself. And during that time, my family was there for me so much. And, my relationship with my mother, it's like the best it's ever been. We've worked on a relationship for the past 10 years, and she is my best friend. I always say I was your mother in another lifetime. I know I was. I know I was. This is not the first lifetime we've done life together. And, healing that maternal wound that I had, and even with my grandmother too, like I hadn't talked to her for years for good reason. But, as I was progressing, right, I did a spiritual retreat in Mexico, and I did another breathwork session, and I was there with my favorite shamans, the Don Miguel Ruiz brothers. Their father is the author of The Four Agreements, which is a book that
Thank you.
I gifted you, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like The Mastery of Love as well. And, the main message I got was you need to forgive your grandmother, and it's time. And so I saw that my mom and her relationship was getting better. And I said, okay, I'll do this with you, Mama. Let's heal generational trauma together.
So are you a big believer in that? Because I always hear, we carry traumas from, family in our past, whatever, and someone, I feel like, man, how could that be possible? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
different person than my father, than my grandfather, mother, whatever it could be. But, like I said, I hear a lot about it. So, are you a big believer in that we're carrying, if it's not healed, trauma from, a past?
Yes. And I saw it. I had a really big download
Mm-hmm.
during one of my breathwork sessions, the first one that I did in 2022, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was 2022. And I thought I was going to go and cry about, my failing marriage or whatever. But I was like, nope. I was visited by my grandparents, the maternal side. And the message was, we've all gone through abandonment and we've all been hurt. And we carry this pain, but it stops with you. And that was the message that I got. And I wasn't prepared for that message. And the fact that this is maternal, specifically on my maternal side, that generations of women have been hurt so deeply and abandoned by their families, by their partners, whatever. It's a huge responsibility. And I'm thankful because I have my mom that I can carry that with. And we've been breaking it by strengthening our relationship as mother and daughter. And she is my best friend. We are, and I even said, like, I said it at my birthday when I was saying the speech, in every lifetime I choose you.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And so, granted, with that being said, life happens.
Yeah.
And
Life happens. One quote I love. So I'm a big. I don't know. You know Rocky, right? The
of
movies.
course,
Big. That's my thing. Whenever I'm feeling down, like out. One of the quotes I can't quote it well, but it's basically it doesn't matter how hard you hit. What matters is how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
that
How
part.
much you can take. That's how winning is done.
Mm,
And I think it fits well with anything. You got your things going on. I have my things going on now,
yeah.
but I'm willing, to take the hits because I know what's gonna come out of it. It's gonna be a way different person. It's like when a caterpillar's in the cocoon and then it comes out with the wings, beautiful.
Beautiful
And
butterfly.
yeah, like the but it's like, personally me, I've been through a lot of things, over
Yeah.
these past 5 years. I'm, I've dealt with a lot, and it's not been a linear journey,
Mm-mm.
up and down. When I think I got things figured out, boom, right hook. to the mouth, didn't see it coming. And it's like, well, either I can continue, like I said, you're sharing your story, and similar to me,
Yeah.
when depression hits, you don't have the power to get out of your bed. I didn't speak about it with anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't have alcohol this time to, handle it, but I had food.
Mm-hmm.
I let myself go a little bit. I didn't, I'm still working on that. It's something I need to work on, to look in the mirror and say, I love myself, because I look at it and I see that broken man there, and I can't do it. I can't. It's tough. It's tough, but I'll get there. I'll get there. But it's not about me. It's about you.
No, I
So,
mean, I hold you in this space as well. Like, you've created space and I'm creating
mhm.
space for you. And I think that, I don't think everything happens for a reason.
I believe in that. Yeah.
And, on my birthday, I was so happy that you were there because it was, it was at my grandpa's house. It was
Right.
just, you know, family members and selected few. There was people that I had wanted or had anticipated would be there. There's people in my life that I thought would be here with me celebrating that didn't make it. And so that's why I'm so grateful that you were there. And, we had our moment and, just talking about life. And, I know sometimes I can be intense because when I be looking at people, I'll be like,
And I mean, you're a couple shots in too. So, but
maybe.
like I said, and I told you, my birthday is, when you look into someone's eyes, that's something I do believe in, as
Mm-hmm.
in powerful, because you do look into that person's soul.
Mm-hmm.
You look into, and it's like, is this person genuine, or is this person, not genuine?
Mm-hmm.
So, you saw into my soul, even though I was trying to be really, like, I don't care, hard, but it got out.
Yeah.
Whatever it was that got out. But um yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that, whatever, but it's life. This is how life is.
Yeah. But another great thing is like, we started talking about podcasts and you're like,
Yeah.
actually, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to be my
Yeah.
podcast. Like, I was going to talk to you about that too. Where we had like a Spider-Man moment where we were just like, hey.
Yeah, because like I said, it's very interesting. The spiritual side of yourself, whatever. Some people think, it's kind of cuckoo crazy, but I feel like whatever you're into, spiritual, sports, whatever it is, it's your thing, and it's something that's passionate, and it's something that, if it's working for you, hey, go for it. Like,
Yeah.
it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So, people believe in God, people believe in other things, and it works for them, and the faith and everything. So it's all tied up in the same. So I think it's interesting. And, I know we touched on how you got there, but, like, you started doing the creation. How's all that going? What are your goals for this? Like, what are you looking forward, to continue with Flows with Ashley?
Yeah. So I started this page, right, like a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
And the first step is just starting. And
Yeah.
it's the scariest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to start off by having a handle, right? And I had the encouragement of one of my friends, Jenny. And she's like, just start it, girl. Like, we'll come up with a name. And I was like, Flowithashley. During that time, I'm a water sign. I'm a Pisces. I feel very drawn to the water. I heal in the water. I mean, I don't be drinking that much water. I probably should. But
I've been drinking water, a gallon. I got it right here.
you know what? I have my little
Right,
water
right,
over
right.
here. Tienes una pinche botellón? No
Gallon a
mames.
day right
No
now.
memes. No memes.
It works for me.
Hey, it works for
It
you.
works for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I essentially just started to post and, right. I was really, when I look at last year, 2023, from January, I was doing salsa classes with my friends. I was getting out of my comfort zone. I was traveling every month. I went to Mexico with my best friend, Gabby. Her and I always do solo trips together. And I remember I was snorkeling and I was like, I know I'm going to heal in this water and I'm going to release everything that I need to release. And I did. I was snorkeling and I released everything and I continued to release, and I only brought in the energy that needed to be with me. And then I felt I was at my fucking highest. I was, April comes around, your birthday comes around, met a lot of amazing people. And, when shit's going great, you get fucking tested.
Mm-hmm.
And, I started to see like a lot of the shit that I had learned, a lot of the shit that I was proud of, like, I felt like I didn't have any of my skills anymore, and, without going too much into, other situation, I, found myself in love again and didn't expect that, see it coming a mile away, and, a beautiful experience. And, it was just like a mirror. Like I thought, oh, I'm healed. Again, I'm healed. I've read all these books. I'm in therapy.
I feel like that's gonna be the quote. I read all these books.
I read all these books. Like I was in Teotihuacan learning from the shamans.
Right.
I've been in ceremony. And then I was like, I'm having a hard time being what I'm posting about.
Mm.
And then I kind of had a little crisis of, well, what's going on, Ash?
Not a lot of people admit that.
Yeah.
Because social media, we see the best of everyone,
Yeah.
Look at my new car, look at my new life. Look, I'm doing way better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, I don't need you. I'm doing me. But if we really posted, how we really feeling, it would be pretty dark, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, if you follow me on TikTok, that's like more of my shit.
Oh, okay.
But I don't really be posting my TikTok like that because that's like the most vulnerable. But, for a while, I kind of stopped posting because I'm like, I'm struggling so much in my life, and I don't like who I am right now. I don't like, how I'm interacting, with others. And I know that I could do better and be better. And again, when you're in granted, things are tested in friendships and relationships with your family, your friends, with intimate, partners. And I couldn't hide anymore. And I was like, girl, you got a little bit more to learn.
Like you said, it's a test. It's
Yeah.
sorry. It's like you said, it's like tests, when you're in school, right? You take midterms, the final, and the midterm, you're like, all right, let's see where you're really at.
Mm-hmm.
And it will send whatever to you to check you to see, you're getting.
Oh, and I was checked.
You're getting a little too confident,
Yes.
And let's see if you're about it.
Yeah, and then I had another death.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It wasn't as intense as the first one, but it was just, when you want something so bad, so fucking bad.
Oh, I thought you meant like someone died.
Oh, no.
Oh, but it's still someone. It's a death. Okay.
Yeah,
but
it's
still,
an emotional death. You're like, sorry.
I was like, damn.
You're like, damn, what the fuck? No, it's an ego death.
Okay.
It's, how the fuck am I showing up? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also giving myself grace that I'm doing the best that I can with the information and the resources that I have. And, I never thought that I would fall in love again. And I did, and I fell fucking hard. And, I don't regret anything in my life. And it was, like I said, without, just for privacy reasons, I learned so much about myself. And I also learned towards the end of it, just through reflection of, the part I played in my suffering. And again, looking at myself in the mirror, what did you do? How did you, not putting blame on nobody, but what did I do to keep myself in a situation of just, I don't want to say not learning, but I couldn't get out of it. my nervous system was just on high alert all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. And, you know, sometimes you can want something so fucking bad with your heart, not my heart, my mind, heart, spirit. And the universe and God could be like, no.
Yeah. I agree.
And I was angry again. I was fucking angry again. And unfortunately, this other time I did turn to alcohol. And I fucking made an ass out of myself. And I was so fucking embarrassed because that's not me. But la pinche vergüenza que tuve was like, no. And I even had, you know, I had a friend. Shout out to Erica.
Erica.
I love her.
Erica.
And
we love you, Erica.
yeah, where she had a conversation with me and she's like, the fuck are you doing? Maybe not those words because she's very kind, but
she's very kind. Yeah.
essentially was, what the fuck are you doing? This path that you're going on, it's not a good one. Trust me, I've been down that path. And, you know, you have these tools, these resources of how you got through your fucking next marriage. Like, do better. And again, I was like, fuck, yeah, I do got to do better. And then I was able to see like how I was selfish by only thinking of my needs. You know, how I started off when somebody says a yes and I'm saying no, or they're saying no and I'm saying yes, you have to fucking respect that person, even if it's an answer that you don't fucking like.
Sometimes it's tough.
It is.
And it's tough. And for you to think that way, you know, props to you, because I know a lot of people, myself,
Yeah.
you know, when things don't go your way, or, you know, or you're going expecting, you know, what you want to hear and you don't, the first thing is like, fuck this.
Fuck it.
Fuck this. Like, I ain't trying, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? So that's powerful, and props to you. I mean, that's crazy.
It's, but I needed to get to that really low point of, Ash, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Mm-hmm.
You know better. And also, the thing with time is introspection. How did I show up in this relationship? How did I show up with my parents? How I show up in friendships? How do I do boundaries? Am I following my own boundaries with myself? And are you proving your worth? You shouldn't have to prove your worth to nobody. You hear that, everybody? You don't ever prove your worth to nobody. The only person you have to prove yourself to is yourself. And I told you this earlier. You are the love of your life first, just as much as I am the love of my life first. And I honor all versions of myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the crazy. I love and accept all of my versions, and I hold them. And I hold them with open arms. And again, I got this. I got this from now on. And, you know, any mistakes that anybody's made, at the end of the day, they're my mistakes. I made them, and I own them.
Right.
No one can take my mistakes from me.
Yeah.
And so, again, you know, being now as a 30-year-old, I had a hermit mode for 3 months, 2 months, where I didn't want to fuck with nobody. I didn't want to talk to nobody. And I was here in this beautiful home that I have, writing, even facing myself. Like, I even stopped journaling because I couldn't face myself. But once I started, I had so much to say.
Like I said, a lot of people, they journal, stuff like that. Like, what goes into that? Like, what, you don't have to put like, what do you write about? But like, what does it do? Like, what does it do? What does it do for you? Like, are you just writing to yourself, or are you just writing what comes to your mind?
It could be, it changes every time, right? I tell you, I have a gratitude journal, and it's prompted. and I should put you on that because it's prompted. So at night, and I can show you it as well afterwards. But it tells you, you know, what did you do in your day? What were your highlights? What are you looking forward to? And what feelings did you feel today? And it has it lifted up. You just have to check mark it. And it's just having that awareness. It starts with awareness. And then there's other days, again, in the morning, I go to that patio, the sun is shining on my face, and I just start writing, what am I going to do today? And then I have a separate planner as well of like shit that I have to like do. But my journal is just anything that I'm thinking, I just put it to paper. Anything. I was happy today. I missed this person today. I had a great conversation with my family, or, you know, having realization, or sometimes I talk to myself in third person. It could be about my day. It could be about me talking to myself in third person. Sometimes it could be prompted. Like I will look up a prompt and I will just, it could be any question. It could be like, what are your goals for the rest of the year? And then I'll just write. And then I have a vision board. You also saw it as well. And
the infamous vision board.
It's so cute. It's so like cute.
Any girl in you know, this era is vision board parties, charcuterie boards.
The charcuterie board I made.
Gone.
It was gone. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was good. It was good.
No que nadie quería y luego it was gone.
Because it was right there in front of me. So, and it was good. But like you said, I feel we sort of go back to routines, you know, doing all this. It also gives you a sense of like, you know, I'm being productive. I'm putting my mind to work.
1000%.
And, you know, like I said, obviously accountability, reflection, but there's not a lot of time to be idle. And I feel like when you're idle, when you're just laying in bed, all the things, you know, you're thinking about that are tough, that are sad, it hits all at once. And, you know, then it beats you. You know, you start curling up in bed. You don't want to leave. So all these things, you know, some say it could be dumb. Some say it could be, you know, cheesy, but it works. I would say for you.
Yeah. And I kind of want to transition into somatics and somatic therapy. I did pause, but I am working on becoming a somatic mind and body life coach. And in tandem, I'm also working on becoming a mental health counselor. Actually, my therapist had recommended it to me. She's like, I think you'd be a great mental health counselor. Like, I think you should do it. So I've been doing that. And I didn't also mention earlier, I was laid off 6 months ago, and I've not found a job yet, but it's been with a purpose. And these past 6 months, I've needed it. And, you know, I've had pressure from friends, from family, like, oh, you need a job. And I'm like, you know what? I've set up my life to where I can take off 6 months. That's half a fucking year. And I don't know when I'm able to do this again. And, you know, at one point I had some feedback like, oh, you need, you know, as much time as you're putting towards, you know, your Flowithashley or, you know, your certificate or this and that, like you need to put that energy into finding a job. And I said, with peace and love, I trust myself so much that I know exactly what I'm doing. And this is not wasted time. Just because I am not being conventional and just finding a job it's not wasted time. I am using this time to heal, because during all that bullshit that happened a year and a half ago, I kept working through it all. And I need this fucking time right now. And it may not be what you would do, but I'm not you, I'm me. And this is what I need. And it's not wasted time because I'm using this time on me. And I'm the most important person in my life. And the person's like, oh, touche. And I said, yeah, touche. And getting to that point where I trust myself with my life. before I trusted other people, y'all gotta watch out for me because I'm clumsy as hell. I be tripping, and I love it. I love it, when I had that and, had somebody else worrying for me.
Right.
But the truth is, I worry. I have me. We were born.
Yeah. I mean, you're the only person that knows what you go through. You're the only person that's there in your darkest.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only person that knows your truths.
Yeah.
And, no one else, honestly, like you can have an amazing relationship with friends,
Yeah.
girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like some things, sometimes yourself, everything, that you got going on. You may share some things here or there, but no one is going to honestly know you how you know yourself. And you know yourself also when you're on your bullshit, like, I got it. And you're like, no, you don't got it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like you're bullshitting yourself. And, so like I said, I mean, that's powerful. And like I said, your way of thinking, puts perspective in things, I've never thought that way with what you're sharing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a journey. Healing is not linear. But something that I love is once you're awake, you're fucking awake. You can't go back to, oh, no sabía. Now you know. And with knowledge and with awareness comes responsibility. And so, again, when I got to that point at the end of last year where I was just like, wait, no mames, like, you're fucking up, Ash. And then you're going to the bottle, acting out of fucking character, doing shit you're not supposed to, like making an ass out of yourself, being irresponsible. I looked at myself and my little Ashley was just like, girl, you better get your shit together because I'm counting on you. And, I took a break and I pondered my relationship with alcohol. I always go back deep into childhood. What was my first experience with alcohol? I mean, granted, I another thing, I grew up Mormon, so I didn't really drink alcohol until I was, older. I was in college. I was in my 20s already. But what was my first experience with my parents? Did they drink? Yeah, they did. Did they sometimes drive in the car with us? Yeah. Did I see fights? Was alcohol involved? Yeah. And I started to delve into that. And I was like, fuck, I'm back in the shadowlands. I always say your dark period when you're in your shadow self is when you learn the most. And people think like your depressive state's the hard. It is the hardest, but it's where you learn the most. And again, delved into that whole thing. And I think I'm very much aware now. And that's why my party was the exception, but I had so much fun.
You had fun. You had fun.
I had so much fun. And granted, I wasn't driving. My tío had come. My favorite cousin from Fresno was there.
The guy that was dancing with you.
Oh my God, Rigo. Riguito. Shout out to Rigo.
he it was funny, but he could dance.
He danced professionally folklorico. And, my favorite uncle was there. And they're like, girl, I got you. We're your DD. And my cousin made sure I was drinking water. And it's crazy because I never felt like I was drunk. I just had so much gratitude.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, you were surrounded with people that love you, friends and family. You let loose, healthy environment to be.
Dancing, great food, carnitas. My mom did a wonderful job.
And it was very touching. When she was speaking her speech, and you could see the love, she has for you. It was touching and overall great time.
Yeah. And and it's, I know you weren't, you were just there, I saw you interacting, having a great time with everybody and saw you get on the dance floor too. And I was just so happy. No, you were great. The happy feet was there. So, my grandpa was partying until 4:30 a.m. I went home And my grandpa's a G. Like, he was in his tajana. Like, it. And what made me happy was that I had family come together to make this day so special for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my grandpa and my grandma were, chopping. Even my grandpa was chopping chiles and like stuff for las salsas. And like, it was a group effort. My tia Michelle, like my mom,
Yeah.
they did all the pastries and decorations, and everything was just everything and more.
Typical Mexican party. They had a party. Chivas America in the background.
Oh yeah, the Chivas game was playing in the background. My grandma comes out in her fucking Chivas jersey. She switched real quick. My grandpa's in his tejana. I was like, oh my god.
They got the kids running around. Everything that you picture at a Mexican party, but it was fun. And a lot of people are using that theme, right? Death to my 20s.
Yes. Death to my 20s. Rebirth. It should have been rebirth. Rebirth.
But you touched on this a little bit earlier about you basically love all versions of Ashley that have gone through your lifetime,
Yes.
And I feel I agree. I feel the same way. Like I said, over the past 5 years, there's been a lot of things. And before that, I was in different paths, different mentalities, different ways of thinking. And I feel like I get always this question on my live show: what would you do if you can go in the past? And I always answer the same way, as I wouldn't change anything, because I had to go through those things, or I had to be that person at that time to be where I'm at right now. And I know in 5 years, I'm probably going to be thinking the same way, even though it could be as easy sometimes, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that, but then that's a different timeline. And that would lead to a different person. And then you might not learn the lesson that you needed to learn, I've been very candid. I got a DUI. And if I would have never got the DUI, I don't know if I would still be here alive. Because
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
It's so common.
Yeah, I know it's common. But it was brewing.
Yeah.
It was brewing. It was I had tested my faith many times. I was probably even more intoxicated than that night. But it was tough. It was tough because everyone was very compassionate towards me, family, friends, and I just felt like I didn't deserve that. I did a horrible thing. It could have ended worse. I could have hurt somebody. I could have killed myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't deserve people's pity or love. But my true friends and my family, they came and they supported me through it. And because of that path, and then other things that happened, I'm not going to share.
Yeah.
But it shaped me to this journey that I went. I lost a lot of weight. I stopped drinking, and I was in probably the happiest I've ever been in my life. But as I mentioned this, my story didn't end there. I thought happy ending comes, everything's going to be great. But I've been here, 5 years later, ups and downs, and I know it's going to continue to be like that going forward.
Absolutely.
But I think we're all up for it. We're all up for the challenge. Yeah. And sometimes challenges are good because, it shows your true character I have a lot more things to learn and to even be a better person than I am.
Absolutely.
And I feel same with you.
Oh, thank you. And I resonate with that. And I do want to, I'm really big on gratitude, right?
Yeah. I can tell.
I might make you feel a little uncomfortable right now, but I'm very grateful to have you in my life.
Thank you.
And I know, like, throughout the years, granted, I was kind of away for a while because I was kind of married and all that stuff, but
understandable.
But I would say that, even when we first met, I've always said, oh, Chio's such a great person. And you always made me feel safe. And you're really fucking funny. You're really funny. And I'm just so happy to see the person that you are today. And I just want to take this time to honor you and all of your goals that you've completed and have yet to complete. And the person that I see today is somebody that is so strong, that is hungry, that has complete awareness.
I haven't ate.
Pero también, it's brewing. Trust me, you'll like my food. You'll like my food. But and good comedic relief, because I know you're getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know me well.
Yes, but I honor you. I honor the man that you are, the person that you are, the friend that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that we're able to sit down and have these types of conversations because, therapy is healing.
Mm-hmm.
Talking is healing. And also, we're not that different from anybody else.
Obviously, we had a little conversation before we started.
Yeah, we did.
We shared a couple things.
Yeah.
And your stories, I resonate with them. But thank you for that. Right now, because I don't want to get into it, but
yeah,
it's a tough time.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that same way. What you're telling me.
I know.
I feel that I let myself down. I feel I don't feel proud of myself, but I've been lower.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself, from the ashes, a phoenix rises, and I'm doing the steps to get there.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you telling me that.
Yeah.
I do.
And I will say it again. I'm going to look at you and your soul. Are you ready
Okay.
for this?
Go ahead.
Hermano, I honor you.
Thank you.
You are a great man. You're a great person. You are intelligent. You are loved so much. And you have so much empathy and care and wisdom. And you are so smart and so intelligent. And I'm so proud of you for doing this podcast, getting out of your comfort zone and doing, I know it's primarily sports, but we're also touching on the mental health. And so I feel very blessed to be here with you, and I see you.
No, I see you too. And the same, I'm hearing your story and how you've always been, also proud of you, of what you've overcome, and being a strong, independent woman. And I know in these times, it's tough to do that. It is very tough. But thank you. And thank you, for having me in your home, and, for sharing this with me, because I could also be tough and intimidating.
Yeah.
I understand.
No, definitely. And one thing I've noticed, I like talking. This is the third podcast I've been on this year. And I think, who knows, maybe I'll get the podcast bug. Maybe I'll pull the plunge. A ver.
One thing I've noticed throughout this is you have a way of speaking. You're good. And you're able to express yourself clearly. And I feel like you have a voice for it. And you should definitely, give it a shot.
Thank you.
I'll support you. But we're here. What else do we have? I feel, obviously, we got to know you a little bit, know your story, what drives you, what motivates you. But maybe we'll finish up with just generic things. Kind of like, what's your thought of love? Obviously, love is very powerful.
Yeah.
And love, when you're loving, when whatever it could be, right? Relationship, whatever, the most amazing feeling one could feel.
Yeah.
But, with most things in life, it does come to an end. But what is your thoughts on love?
I love love. And you said something interesting. It comes to an end. It never stops.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. Because, like I said, we are the loves of our lives. Love is here. Love is within. Love then, and I don't know, you can imagine it like an energy, right? Our chakras, right? But love is here. It's within. The love that we feel for our family and our friends, even loved ones. I even said this to somebody. It's like, I love you even when you walk away from me. That's love in relation to others, right? But the love está aquí dentro. It's what we are made of. And so for me, it's something that's ever generating. It's what relates us to other people. It's what relates us to ourselves. Love is our true purpose. It's what life is. And we always say, oh, there's so much hate, there's so much fear. I'm like, yeah, if you have that lens, that's all you see. But when you get to the point of I'm self-sufficient and love's within, it never ends. Maybe it might dim because of life, but we have the same embers to explode that love. And it's like, I've had the opportunity to be in the same room as my stepmom. She was giving birth to my sister. None of the windows opened. None of the doors opened. And the next thing I knew, there was a beautiful little life, and I just loved her so much. I didn't know her, but I just loved her. And I think that that's how we should view ourselves. And when people say, oh, I'm growing into, a better person, actually, no, we're just returning back to ourselves before the domestication, before fear, before we started to have limiting beliefs. It's domestication that happens since we're little. Boys are supposed to be this way. Girls are supposed to be this way. Machismo. You get married, you do this, you do this. Boys aren't supposed to cry. Girls, you have to be in the house. That's domestication. That's the world's domestication, but that's not who we are. I always think of it as when you're little, you don't have fear.
Yeah. I remember the first time I realized that, damn, I'm going to die one day. I was maybe 10, and it was like a big shock. And honestly, that's what has been, I guess, my trauma with my anxiety is the fear of death. I have a fear of death because obviously I don't want to die, but it's like, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
What happens? What if there is no heaven or hell? And my life that's it. I don't recollect how it was before I was born. It's going to feel the same way. But it is very traumatic when you finally realize that. But before that, yeah, you're right. It's like you're looking forward to toys, movie, shows, cousins, friends. It's a lot more, simple. Life is simpler in those times.
It's an illness, actually. And you will, like some of the words that I'm using, again, read the 4 agreements.
I'll read.
But todos tenemos una enfermedad. We are all sick. A lot of the times we don't see the wounds in our body, but we are all sick. Sick with domesticating ourselves, sick with fear, sick with hate, sick with self-sabotage, sick with fearing everything. There's a saying in Spanish, ¿estás sobreviviendo or estás viviendo? Are you surviving or are you living?
Surviving.
Surviving. A lot of us are in survival mode. And hell, it's not a place. Hell is here.
I agree.
That's why I say don't always believe the shit that your mind tells you. Don't always do it because it can, again, it's a lens. It puts a filter on how you should be seeing life. If you have a fucking chip on your shoulder, guess what lens you're going to have? We can both be looking at the same thing. It could be so sunny and it's so hot. And so he's, oh my God, it's so fucking hot. I'm sweating. Oh, like I didn't bring the right clothes. I didn't bring my hat. Oh, I just hate it. And I could be looking at it. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. Look at the sun. Oh, it feels so good to energize myself. I'm going to go to the beach. Same scenario.
Yeah.
But it's your lens.
Your perspective.
Your perspective. And so perspective and intention is huge. You can see that, but if you're seeing it with a certain lens, you're always going to see it that way. And so I don't know where I was going with this.
Like I said, it's going through different paths, but I think it's very interesting. One thing I wanted to touch on is obviously we were talking about machismo and, whatever. but I feel like something that is kind of obviously, I feel like women, they're more in touch with their emotions. They're able to speak it. They're not afraid to feel it, let cry, whatever. And I feel like us men lately, we're trying to do that. And like I said, I've been always a big proponent on mental health, men's mental health, especially because a lot of people, a lot of men, like I said, we're taught, los hombres no lloran. You know, eres hombre, eres fuerte. You gotta, you gotta be strong. But I feel like you show more strength when you're in tune with your emotions, when you feel, when you are able to express yourself. And I feel like myself, I'm able to do that. I have an amazing group of friends.
You do?
Before, we used to always, it's called Sunday Talk. Every Sunday, we come together and we talk what we got going on in our life. And I feel like more men need to have a space like that. They don't need to be afraid to talk about what they got going on, because I feel like it's true, a lot more men commit suicide because of that, of, they don't speak what they got going on. And one thing that I've always been so grateful is when people reach out to me. A couple years ago, I shared, my experiences with my anxiety, depression, and hey, I heard your podcast and I just want to say thank you. Like, I'm going through the same thing, and hearing your story, I appreciate, I didn't know people felt this way.
Yeah.
So I feel like, obviously I was in therapy for a long time. I plan to go back because I feel like even if sometimes it got to the point where it was, I don't know what to talk about, but it was just nice to talk to someone that's very unbiased.
Yeah.
Because if you talk with your friends, they're going to be biased.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to, obviously my friends, they have my back no matter what.
Absolutely.
Man, someone to keep you check and to be unbiased, to lead you to ways to think, not just, you're feeling that way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But they ask you questions to direct you into different ways of thinking of the situation that you got going on. So I will say, more men speak up. My DMs are open. You can always reach out to me. But what's your thought on that? On just, do you feel like men are opening up a little bit more, or do you think they're just as closed-minded as ever?
I think that's a loaded question. But I will say that men heal with other men. Men heal in brotherhood. Men heal in those spaces. And to be very frank, I don't believe that a man, and I'm making a statement, I don't believe men can heal in spaces that are majority, like women's spaces.
Why do you think that?
Because I feel like for me, something that I've been doing is I don't heal with other men. I heal with women. I do something called womb healing, which is I'm healing my womb with other women. And every time I've gone into myself, I don't seek outward validation specifically from it. Maybe like my father, right?
Right.
The exception. But for me, granted, I'm speaking for myself. I heal best when I'm surrounded by other women. Granted, I have support of other men. I have amazing friends that are men. But there's just something about having wholesome relationships with women and being in, I don't think you can relate to what it's like to be on your period, to bleed.
I'll tell you this. I don't. I know that's time when them women get cuckoo and
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, banana cream pie. Me.
Everything sets them off.
Hey, now you're making generalizations. Cálmate, güey. Cálmate.
Oh, okay, I'm talking from experience.
Okay.
But yes, I agree. I have no idea what you're going through.
Yes.
And even as much as hard as I would try to relate, as to make it easier,
You won't.
I just don't get it. And you won't get how I feel when I got shit going on,
Yeah.
But I feel like also getting the other side of perspective, a women's perspective or vice versa, male's perspective, can
It's
also
great.
open your mind.
Yeah.
If you're open to that,
Yeah.
to see, all right, what they think, and it's all right. Try to make, try to get something from it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not saying that.
And I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's. I think the main core healing is in sisterhood, and I think the main core healing is with brotherhood. And then when you're able to cross over, I think it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I think exactly that. But back to your point with men, I definitely do feel that men are not taught how to feel, and I'm specifically talking about like our culture and the Latino culture. I think that there is a paradigm. I think there's a shift where feeling, I think we are not taught how to regulate our nervous systems, is what it is. And so if I'm angry, how do I calm myself down? What are we telling our sons and our daughters? Stop crying. Go to your room. Or breathe with me. What are you feeling? What's going on? Tap with me. I feel angry and I just need to feel this, but I'll be okay. I am okay. Not necessarily hitting. You don't have to use violence to make somebody listen. You don't have to yell to make somebody listen. You just have to connect. Help, because that's what it is. It's like we're in life, we deal with big emotions and it doesn't stop. But what does change is that we get older and then we don't know how to regulate our nervous systems because we weren't taught as kids. And so I think that's the bigger problem, really, is we're just taught to just suck it in.
Yeah.
Even for women, like suck it in. And then shit's trapped in your body and 20 years later, you're still fucking dealing with it. But there comes a point where you say no more. And, looking at yourself in the mirror and hugging yourself, it may seem ridiculous, but I have a newfound confidence in myself where I say, I love myself. I not only love myself, but I like myself. And I love the way that I think. And I love the way that I love. And I love that way that I trust. I love the way that I look up at the moon and the sun and I get excited. Oh my God, look at the moon. There's a full moon. And people can be like, girl, but I love it.
Right.
And that's what makes me me. And I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I might be somebody's shot of tequila, maybe. But I think that, just to circle back there, I think what you're saying is healing in spaces with other men is so powerful. And having that brotherhood and that community is essential.
It is. It is. And I hope, more men are able to do that. And, sometimes, it's tough for men because you get the, man, no, not offending anyone, but man, that's gay, or,
yeah.
But it's not. It's not. Pause. But it's not.
It's
because
powerful.
if you have the right people around you, the real friends, no matter what, they'll listen, and you'll be surprised that they're probably going through something worse or even the same as you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, don't be afraid to speak up. Seek help. There is, hopefully you're never at a point where you want to end it all because life is beautiful. And like I said, you've been through some shit. I've been through some shit. And we've probably been in points where that comes to your mind.
Yeah.
It's normal, but know that shit is going to get better. And, just keep taking those punches. It's going to be better. And I feel like it's going to be better for you. It's going to be better for me. But yeah, I think that's a powerful thing if you're able to have that.
Yeah. And the main phrase I'm hearing is a phrase that got me through it all was un día a la vez.
Yep.
One day at a time. And I think that's such a good way to end. I feel like that's very powerful.
Very powerful. Once again, Ashley, I appreciate you, like I said, having me in your home. Yeah. Appreciate you being on this. I learned a lot, and hey, I needed this. I needed to hear this. I don't know. I enjoyed my time. I really enjoyed this episode, and thank you.
Thank you. And I'm excited to tune in. Y'all should tune in. I'm definitely going to share this all over. And also, too, like, this is my first time really sharing about my life. And so definitely will be a lot of verdades in the sense of like what I went through as a child. And I just feel ready. I feel empowered. And thank you so much for having a platform where I feel safe. And I'm happy we were able to do it in my home.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, make you the most comfortable here in your own home. But thank you guys again. I appreciate you guys' support. Last time I checked, we're at 80 subscribers, 20 away from 100. Ooh,
on YouTube?
On YouTube.
Okay.
On YouTube. So guys, do what you do. Like the video, share it. Leave a comment.
Yeah.
Whatever you thought about it. And then, like I always say, I appreciate you guys taking your time listening to us, what we got to say, and always show the support, love. Obviously, every Mondays, I'm live doing the live sports talk. The community is wonderful there. We always have a great time. And, look forward to more podcasts going forward. But thank you guys. Much love. Thank you, Ashley.
Oh, namaste. Namaste.
But I'm signing out, and hopefully this recorded, and peace.
All right.